What's up, guys? Welcome back, Jackpot DFS man. We're back for a Monday night look for showdown slate between the Seattle Seahawks and the Philadelphia Eagles. Hope you guys all had a great Sunday. What a show Tyreek Hill put on yesterday, as well as Derrick Henry. I was not a favorable on Derrick Henry yesterday, just due to the Indianapolis Colts defense and how good they've been this year. But it just appears that Derrick Henry is just matchup proof. Doesn't matter what defense he's facing, he's going to get the rock and he's going to run it until he scores. That'll be something we just address later on this week in matchups that he'll be facing in continuance to what he does on the field. So hope you guys had some Hill. I did mention him in my video. 60 DK points yesterday for Hill. Amazing. That's just unheard of. Just crazy. If you guys weren't cashing and you had Hill, you guys are definitely probably cashing after Hill went off for those 60 points yesterday. Moving on, guys. Hey, as usual, guys, if you have not subscribed already to the YouTube channel, please do so. Like and subscribe as always, man. Helps grow the channel and get it out there. As well as follow me on Twitter. If you guys aren't doing so already, usually gets up-to-date news on injuries. I noticed a couple of you guys had hit me up yesterday. You guys try to hit me up a little sooner. Try to hit me directly if you can. Tag me on Twitter. I will comment sometimes on other people's stuff, etc. Just try to avoid tagging them in the same stuff, because that's probably some kind of comment or status they made, and we don't want to trump DFS stuff on someone else's account. Just try to do that on my individual account, and then we'll go from there and get any questions you have answered or such. If you guys hit me late, it's hard for me to get to you guys if you wait till the very last minute. As usual, try to hit me up at least a couple hours beforehand, or an hour or so beforehand on DFS content, so I can get any questions answered for you guys. Moving on, we got Russell Wilson tonight. In our quarterback matchup here. There is some news out there that Jalen Hurts will start tonight. Kind of hit, and we're just kind of waiting to see. So it's not 100% sure that Carson Wentz will be the starter tonight for Philadelphia. There's been some reports that Jalen Hurts has been taking the first team reps and will be the starter tonight. That is very, very important that you pay attention to that news. As soon as we get some confirmation that he will start tonight or not start, I will put that up on my Twitter feed. That is something extremely important tonight if you guys are playing the showdown, to pay attention to that, or if you're playing the 2-game Monday night and Tuesday night slate. I will do possibly I'm going to do a second video separately for the Pittsburgh game. There will be some light rain in this matchup for tonight's projected for the Eagles and Seahawks. There's projected for snow tomorrow in the Steelers game to make matters just that much worse. So how much snow, I'm not quite sure yet. I haven't dug too deep into that. I do see a forecast for snow. Could it be a lot of snow on the ground? Could it be a fun game to watch? We'll have to just wait and see. But I hope so, because those games are fun to watch. But anyway, guys, we'll get into our what we think is going to happen for tonight for the showdown. Philadelphia's been a little bit better on defense this year. Russell Wilson started out the year great. He's not been so great here lately. He's had some trouble, but he's also had some difficult matchups on paper for defense, which has gave him a little bit of trouble. The Rams and such and things that he faced the last matchup. But, hey, the Rams are pretty good on defense. We know that. But looking at it tonight, Russell Wilson should be in a favorable matchup tonight. The Eagles are a little bit better against the run. They do have a nice pass rush. I do expect them to put a little pressure on Wilson. However, Russell Wilson is good on his feet. He's mobile, and he should be the higher-owned quarterback tonight. However, if Jalen Hurts starts tonight, that could switch some things up. He's also cheaper, and he's also mobile on his feet. However, we don't know what to expect from Jalen Hurts, but if he starts tonight, I do advise getting him in some of your lineups. You always keep in mind, guys, that quarterbacks don't generally win a showdown in the captain slot. Generally, you want a running back or receiver, and in your captain spot. Those are majority of the time the lineups that win in showdowns. But I do like Russell Wilson tonight. I do like Wentz if he starts. I do like Jalen Hurts if he starts. Actually may like Hurts a little bit more. I know we haven't seen him play a game, but just judging off his college career and how mobile he is and what he can make things happen, I think that can make things interesting tonight if he does get a start. Moving on to running backs tonight. Obviously, Miles Sanders is back in play. He's a pass-catching back, could be very well involved. If Jalen Hurts starts, I could see him set up in some kind of like screen passes, some things to kind of get Hurts in groove, to kind of start the night out, to kind of get him focused and get the first game jitters out of the way. Like Hurts tonight. And if he plays, and then I also like Miles Sanders tonight. Remember, it is a showdown slate, and the Seahawks have not been the greatest on defense. They're ranked 21st against running backs. And Chris Carson will be back tonight. I do think he'll still share some load with Carlos Hyde. How much they'll run tonight is kind of up in the air. They haven't been a majority of the run team that we're used to seeing with them. I think Carson will be involved in pass catching. I do think he'll get work inside the 5-yard line. Slate breaking, hard to say. One of those things where Chris Carson, even when he was healthy and playing before he got hurt, wasn't doing the greatest. So I could see this kind of being, I do like Chris Carson, but I wouldn't say he's a must-play tonight. However, Miles Sanders is probably more of a must-play for me. With that being said, you also can, I do have some love for Carlos Hyde and Boston Scott. Both of these guys have been in play with the two teams starting quarterbacks, have been sharing the load. Carlos Hyde, 42% of the snaps, basically sharing the load with Chris Carson. Miles Sanders has played 70% of the snaps, and Boston Scott has played 37%. He is projected for 10% on. Carlos Hyde is 1% projected on. Miles Sanders 48%, and Chris Carson is projected for 45% on. Don't suggest playing DJ Dallas tonight. I do not think he'll be a part of that role tonight. Possibly come out there to block, also come out there to catch one pass, maybe run a rock maybe once or twice, but I don't see him playing a role tonight in the showdown slate. Boston Scott's really cheap at 1,000. I think that could be a nice play tonight to save you some salary at 1,000. He scored 10, 14, and 8 the past 3 games. He's going to get some play tonight. And for a $1,000 price on DK, I think that's a good steal that you can play tonight that could save you some salary and get you some points tonight. Moving on to wide receivers. Obviously, first thing on the list, the new Megatron, you could call him, I guess, DK Metcalf. You'll most likely have to decide which of these two guys you're going to want to play tonight, whether Metcalf or Lockett. Personally, for me, it'll probably Lockett. For me, I think one of these guys are going to draw the Slay coverage. Do I think Slay will be the point where he's going to stop either one of these guys from catching the ball? Probably not. It's going to be hard to do all night long. But then again, I just like Lockett for those underneath throws coming across the middle, etc. I do like the coverage that he'll draw with the kind of role that he plays in the Seattle offense, and I just think he's more kind of better as far as if you're going to have to pick one to bet on. I just think Lockett has the most upside, and the floor may be a little higher for him. Past 3 games for Metcalf has been a 27, a 5, and a 14. There are moments where Metcalf just disappears in games. Do I think that's this game? Not saying that. He could definitely have a nice game. I do think he's in play. However, I just side with Lockett more than I do Metcalf. Lockett, past 3 games, it's have a 7, a 9, and a 9 in targets. Last 3 games on points has been at 8, 12, and 22. Both these guys in play. Could have some small consideration for like a David Moore. He is questionable for tonight. Limited on Saturday practice, but most unlikely he'll probably play. Also, Freddie Swain is also questionable tonight. However, he's only 200. So if a situation occurs like where Moore isn't going to play and Freddie Swain does play, boom, you've got $200 Freddie Swain that should play a nice part of that offense in like a slot role or third receiver role. Could prove nice dividends tonight for a nice saving of salary. Looking on the side of the Eagles, Travis Fulgham should be in nice position. He's been kind of that come along receiver for the Eagles this season. 7, 5, and 7 targets past 3 games. He's on the field 100% of the snaps, as well as Jalen Reagor has also been out there for 100% of the snaps. 6, 7, and 5, 13, 9, and 9 the past 3 games. He's only 5,800. Could save you some salary there by taking him. Also playing a lot of snaps is Greg Ward at 70% of the snaps. 5, 6, and 4, 4, 9, and 4 the last 3 games. But hey guys, this is a showdown slate, so you got to keep that in mind. Showdown slates, it's hard to ward off anyone saying they're not possible of breaking a slate or scoring, because that kind of goes without being saying on a showdown slate. Anything can happen on a showdown slate. We've seen that happen many times. I just think generally that's from a receiver or a running back per se. Options kind of limited in the running back. You kind of get 4 to choose from. You could even pair them up if you wanted to. Receivers, it gets a little bit more tricky because you got a lot more options. Alshon Jeffrey has just kind of fallen off the face of the earth since coming back from injury. He's not really out there playing a lot. It's more been these other 3 guys. He's only 1,600. If I'm going to play one of the 2, though, I'm going to probably go down and just play John Hightower at 200. He is playing some snaps. Hasn't been targeted here lately in the past couple games. Majority of the workload has been Reagor, Ward, or Fulgham. Do think those are the primary receivers you should target tonight, whichever way you want to go. They're generally, most of those Eagles receivers are priced about the same, 5,200 to 6,800. Remember, the Seahawks are last in the league against opposing receivers. They should be able to catch some balls tonight. However, it does kind of depend also on which quarterback starts tonight for the Eagles, whether that be Hurts or be Carson Wentz. And also Hurts gives you that ability on the feet. So could make some things happen. I do think these receivers will be in play regardless of who starts tonight. Just kind of pick your poison on which guy you'd want to go with on that side of the Eagles. Moving on to tight ends. This is also going to be a little bit tricky tonight, choosing the tight ends, especially on the Seahawks side. Dallas Goedert obviously is the leading tight end for the Eagles right now. The pie position, the Seahawks actually do pretty good against tight ends. However, Dallas Goedert has fared pretty well against the Seahawks in the past. Had a 14 and a 9 the past 2 games against the Seahawks. Should still be available to do what he does. Generally plays 100% of the snaps. He's on the field a lot for them, with Ertz especially being out. And also on the Eagles side, a guy who's kind of come on and done his own thing and scored well in the past couple of games has been Richard Rodgers. He's only 1,800 tonight. He's had 5 and 2 targets the past 2 games. He scored a 10 and a 13 the past 2 games for the Eagles. Could be a nice saving salary tight end if you don't want to go to Goddard and you decide to go and save some salary and go to Richard Rodgers. Not a bad play. Richard Rodgers has had a nice couple of games, and if he can score 10 or 13 or something like that tonight at that price, you've made a good bet there going with Richard Rodgers. We'll get a little bit more trickier here on the Seattle Seahawks side. Greg Olsen's on IR, so you're going to have Will Dissly, Jacob Hollister, primarily the 2 that are being on the field for the Seahawks. Past 3 games for Will Dissly, a 1, a 2, and a 1 on his targets, but you know this guy from the past. Could play well. Not out of the question that he can't catch a bomb touchdown or something like that. Jacob Hollister is on the field. Says 22% of the snaps. I think it may be a little bit more than that now that Greg Olson's on IR. Projected to 18% ownership. He's actually owned second owned projected ownership right now on the night for tight ends, with Goddard at 26%. Jacob Hollister, past 3 games, has had 11, 2, and 3 DK points. Could come on strong tonight. All he needs is a couple catches and maybe a touchdown. If he gets a touchdown, even better. But I like Richard Rodgers tonight, kind of myself, and Dallas Goedert. I think just the play on that side of the field works out better. I don't see the Seahawks don't use their tight ends as much as they have in the past. I don't know if that's just a change in the offense this year, but they kind of lean more on the receivers and running backs and such than they do a tight end. However, Eagles are running a lot of 2 tight end sets, so you can see Richard Rodgers would be on the field a lot more compared to what your general side for the Seahawks is. They most likely run like a 1 tight end set more often. Moving on to kickers tonight. Jason Myers and Jake Elliott are both pretty good kickers. I will say they're in play. I'm going to try to avoid picking kickers tonight. That's not done me much justice here lately, but you can correlate that with a quarterback, a couple receivers, or a couple a receiver, a running back, and if you want to throw the kicker in, to correlate that together on the same team, that always works well. However, looking at the past 3 games for Jason Myers, he's had a 12, a 12, and a 9. Jake Elliott has had a 1, a 4, and a 6. So, projected out of that, looks like Jason Myers is the one who gets majority of the time against, and that's mainly because the Seattle Seahawks have been struggling a lot here lately to score. Over the past month, they've just struggled a little bit. But I don't know that they struggle against the Philadelphia Eagles. I do think this game will stay competitive. Just kind of always has to wait and see what happens tonight with Hurts starting or Wentz starting. Moving on to defense. If Hurts starts tonight, it's going to be his first start. I mean, it's not out of the equation that the Seahawks couldn't pick him off or something or cause a fumble just because it's his first real NFL game. So that's something that could possibly happen tonight. The Eagles have been pretty mediocre on defense, but they're not. They're up towards the top 15 of the league versus the bottom 15 of the league. I could see them pressuring Russell Wilson, possibly even picking him off. That's not unheard of. However, defenses generally don't project very well. They ultimately need a touchdown to be efficient in the lineup. Not saying that can't happen tonight. We've seen a lot of that here lately, but if you're playing multiple lines, I'd say that's fair. You could shoot some defense in there, but I don't suggest that if you're playing a single line. Just don't think it's worth it. Now, generally, most of the time, they're not going to get a touchdown. They may get a sack or 2, but generally, with those points going down when the other opposing team scores, even getting a couple sacks, if both of these teams score 21 points tonight with no defensive touchdowns, and then you just get a couple sacks, you're looking at 5 points or something. I just don't see that adding up to help you in a lineup. Generally, playing defenses, unless you're playing multiple lines and then hoping for an outcome of a defensive touchdown and just multiple lines. Let's shoot for captains tonight. Captains, Russell, you can always go quarterback if you like. I just don't like doing that generally myself because those don't generally win in showdown slates. When you have running quarterbacks, that ups the chances a little bit. So I will say Russell Wilson A possibility if Jalen Hurts starts tonight, that could be a possibility of a captain, both captain quarterbacks. I will not play Wentz in the captain if he does start tonight, however. Miles Sanders could be a nice captain play tonight. I don't think I'll play any of the Seattle side running backs tonight for my MVP spot. Tyler Lockett for me. Tyler Lockett, a Travis Fulham or a Rieger could be nice split. You could also go to DK Metcalf tonight as captains in your receiver spots. Going to be a little bit pricier with the Seattle side. If you're going to go receiver captain, you might be better off saving some salary and going with like a Tyler Lockett, Fulham, Rieger, something like that. I like better or the most likely for me. And you could also go with a pass catcher and tight end if you want. Dallas Goedert, Richard Rodgers may not be bad plays at captain, especially with Richard Rodgers, may save you some salary. And then Will Dissly and Jacob Hollister. I wouldn't suggest them being captain plays, only flex plays for me tonight. Never play a kicker or a defense in your captain spot. That's not going to work for you ever. You're just going to lose money doing that. And most of the time you'll probably lose money playing quarterback and captain. However, when you have a mobile quarterback who can rush for a touchdown with no connector like a receiver or such, that always helps if they're in captain. But overall, I'd never really suggest doing that either. Captain plays. Going to do something a little different today, guys. I'm going to go through and I'm going to select some players that I like from this game. I'm going to go through and select the guys that I like tonight at each position. I kind of meant to do that a little earlier and I forgot about it. But I'm going to do that since I've got some time on the video and kind of show you how this works. I'm going to go down and I'm going to add any of these other guys because they're questionable. Don't want to overdo it here, but we'll just go down and select a few guys. I'm going to leave. I'm going to click on Jacob Hollister. Let's go with Myers and Elliott here, and we're just going to not even go there with defenses. Now I'm going to go over to Lineup Optimizer, and it's going to give me, out of the guys that I decided to click and watch, it's going to give me a lineup based on that. And what I want to do is I want to do a mass lineup generator. Give me 20 lines. I'm just going to say 50. I'm going to go mid. Randomness, projection of around 5 is fine, and I want my maximum exposure off the players that I chose to select for watch players, and then I'm going to generate some lineups. And it's obviously gonna shoot down and it's gonna spit me out a lineup. That's basically gonna give me some lineups that with projections. And then I can kind of go from there. Obviously, it's giving me some plays that it likes tonight, and then obviously I'm just going to select one that I think that's off the bat kind of looks good, and I'm going to optimize that one. And I'm going to look at it, see what kind of salary I've got left over. I've got 4,600 left over, so I'm going to look and see what I can upgrade here. I've got a kicker in my lineup. It's giving me the option if Will Dissly or David Moore. I don't know that he plays tonight, but I can go up to a Will Dissly if I like that tonight to correlate that with my Russell. Obviously, we're building a stack here of a lot of playmakers, no quarterback. So I'd want to upgrade this where I have a quarterback in play. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Russell Wilson. And then I'm going to go down and try to go down and find a place to kind of save some salary here. Go to a Richard Rodgers. That drops my salary to 48.4. So obviously I can upgrade somewhere. Let's see what my available upgrades are. I can take a Caller's Hyde. I can take a Fulham. Draft Dashboard ranks the players based on position and what they think is great plays. Obviously both these guys are 100. Obviously, it's giving me that dash rank because the opponent defensive rank is a 32. It's in a great matchup for against the defense, which is terrible. It tells me if the player's been hot or cold, um, and kind of tells you if the player's been hot here lately, what their defensive rank is, etc. So nice little tools, man. What I've told you guys with the draft dashboard, you can see all the tools that you can use here. You know, with cheat sheets, you can browse the teams, you can see the player matchup, you can see the weather, etc. There's just so many tools that you can use on Draft Dashboard. Once again, guys, as we mentioned in all the past couple of videos, you can try Draft Dashboard. The link will be in the description below. I will click that in the link for you guys. What I say, guys, is basically you need a tool if you're playing DFS, especially if you're playing a lot. It helps you if you're going to join or play those 20 lines and like a dollar entry tournament. They have those cheapies that you can use. You can also use, FanDuel has like a $7, and it costs you like $7.50. You can build 150 lineups and place that into that FanDuel, and then bet. It's only $7.50 to play 150 lines, and you have a chance to win up like to $1,500 or $2,000 or something. It's like 5-cent tournament. Those are nice plays on Sundays. If kind of low risk, high reward kind of plays, and such. And there's also I love the 20 lines $3 tournament that you have a chance to every Sunday to win $100,000. First place goes to. And then they're a little cheaper with the dollar tournament. I think you can win like 20 grand, 10 grand or something like that. Generally, you can use those on Showdown slates. You can use those on NFL Sunday, however you want to do that. But this nice tools to use, guys. This is something to think about for going forward, and it also will be useful for your NBA knowledge as well, and building lineups for that if you guys play NBA. But that's it for the slate today, guys. Remember to like and subscribe if you guys haven't done so already. You can find me on Twitter. I will post that link below as well. And that should give you guys an idea of what we're looking at tonight. Let's pay attention tonight to what's going to happen with that Jalen Hurts news. Could be pivotal. Do not, it's really important to that, because if you're going to play a quarterback from Philadelphia tonight, you got to make sure you know who's starting. So generally make sure you check that. We may not get that news until right at lock. So really be paying attention to Twitter feed, etc., to make sure you get that news before it happens or before the game starts. Guys, have a great Monday night. I hope you guys win big money. We'll be back tomorrow for a first look for our NFL slate, as well as for a showdown slate for the Pittsburgh and Ravens game. Okay, guys, have a great night. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.